Righto, how we diddling? Not been in for a few days. Lovely to see you all. You can feel a little bit of spring coming. The weather it's a bit rainy here today, but it's warming up a tad. It's warming up a tad. It's not as cold as it has been. My God, we've had some quite chilly temperatures down and around here. Lovely to see you all. Thanks for tuning in. I might have to depart quite quickly because a friend of mine's coming to pick me up. We're going to go and look at some bits and bobs in a minute, some work. So I thought, let's come in and say hello to you, lovely, gorgeous people. Mark Zuckerberg himself has come out on his Facebook platform. As you know, Zuckertits, runs and owns and controls Facebook Media, Central Control, and is probably responsible for banning me quite a few times. Going to be balmy next week. It's balmy now. Well, what's happening next week, son? And you know what's going on next week? Stevie J Sleep. Oi, son. How are you? Owen Lloyd Martin. So anyway, look, Mark Zuckerberg himself, obviously not a stupid man. Well, I mean, all he did was create a computer program, right? He created Facebook, which probably took some doing. Quite a brainy individual. He's come out and said today that he's not sure what kind of response that this is going to have on people's RNA, their RNA, which is part of their DNA. He says he just doesn't know, and he's like being a bit cautious with that. And there's so many people having these jabs willy-nilly. We've got a scene in Rochester Castle. There's a sign up, symptom-free COVID tests going to the car park. I'm like, well, if you're symptom-free, why would you go? Owen Lloyd Martin, gorgeous, lovely to see you. How are you, buddy? Jackie Jones, hello, sweetheart. Georgina Han, hello, mate. Listen, if I get a toot, I've got to go quite quick. Cut the stream down and get going. But I'm in here until my mate turns up. Yeah. So Zuckerberg himself is like, not too sure about this. Not too sure. Let's exercise a little bit of caution. Look, not all doctors in history have been good. I can name many. Who's that guy that killed a load of people with the beard? Dr. So-and-so in the 90s, I do believe. He killed topped off about 35, 40 people. What was his bloody name? Then we've got Joseph Mengele, that was a doctor that done all sorts of abysmal things to people. Just because you've got a doctor title don't mean to say you're doing good, right? Just because you've got a title of a plumber don't mean to say you're doing good, does it? You can cause lots of mayhem in the world. So, just be careful. Dr. Shipman, well done, Ellen. Hello, sweetheart. Nice to see you. How are you, mate? You all right? So, yeah, all these doctors, I'm sure at the time when Shipton was slipping them drugs into people's arms, they thought he was cushy, doing the right thing. But it's not always the case. The NHS now have turned around, they put a load of labels on people, DNR, do not resuscitate. I'm not seeing that any different from a euthanasia program, ladies and gentlemen. A friend of mine works in the National Health up in the Midlands. Got the old Brummie accent, love him to pieces. He's turned around and said, Dave, I'm on, he said, I'm what's that first responder thing they go out and do? Medics, when they go out in the ambulances, what they called? Oh, my brain's gone blank today, ladies and gentlemen. When they're out in the ambulances and they're saving people's lives, what are they called? Not, his face today, I really am. He is a paramedic. That's it, paramedic. And he said to me 2 years ago, he said, he phoned me up on a Friday night. He was out in his ambulance. And I said to him, where are you? He said, I'm in my van. I went, oh, my God. I said, he said, no, they ain't come out of clubs yet. He said, that's when it all kicks off. That's when we have to go and scrape up the cuts and bruises. And he said, David, I've got a heavy heart. I said, why is that? He said, well, I've worked for the NHS for over 30 years. I said, yeah, I know, mate. And he said, I've got to tell you, brother, something that's really not quite right. I went, oh, okay. What is it? He said, we're killing people. He said, we're actively ending people. I went, oh, wow, man, that's some claim to make, right? That's not an easy thing to say, is it? Why would he? I'm not here to spread the fear. I spread knowledge because I want you to know, so that you can make your own informed decisions, right? That's it. There's no other reason that I come in here and share information is I want you to be informed. So I want you to know that whatever's coming around the corner, you've got an inkling and you might have a handle on it as to be able to deal with that in that moment. But he said to me, he said, I was on a call out. He said, this young girl in her 20s had some heart issues. He said, and I've got her all stable. He said, and a doctor come along, pumped her so full of drugs. He said, she died in front of me. It ruined him. It must ruin paramedics all the time. For that life, losing the life and seeing the dead ones disappear, it must be really tough. Must be really. It cannot be an easy thing to witness, can it? Let's be honest. Anyone in the healthcare business that has to deal with that life and death on a daily basis, it cannot be easy. I always feel for the people that are pushing all the working at the crematoriums and pushing. And that's, look, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and the rest of the world. All that's happened now is that we come into the world and we're just commodities. It's how much can we drag out of this one before they pass away, and we have to push them through that machine and drag the dust out the other side. That's all they want. The council tax, there's nothing about life. There's nothing about morals anymore. It's about business. How much can we get out of this slave? And that is it. How much taxes? Your tax to use the road. You've got to pay tax to use this. You've got to pay to everywhere you go. You're not free. We all seem to think we're free and we're not. So it's coming on top now, ladies and gentlemen, isn't it? You're seeing all this stuff roll out, and I just hope that, and I hope and pray that you're all talking to your friends, your families, and loved ones and saying, we've got to be vigilant. This is the time period of being vigilant and keeping information flowing. That's what we've got to be doing. We've really got to be keeping the information going. First responders, paramedics, first responders, paramedics. But he found out, and it took me a few days to digest what he said. He told me clearly, this is a man that's worked for the National Health Service for over 30 years, that they're killing people. Crimes are ticking over as normal at the moment. Yeah, they are spear-fried. There's nothing. Like, look, I've said before, right? I'll just keep my eye out for me mate because I've got to disappear. We've got to go and have a look at a couple of bathrooms. But I said, look, you wouldn't need, and this is where alternative stuff is good. This is where all your Twitters, your Facebooks, your social medias is good. And you know what? I've got to be honest with you. Most people now do lean into getting their information and tuning into social media. I've just done a fantastic show with my Australian brothers and sisters this morning in Zoom. We went on for 3 hours. And we're going to be sharing that link on my page soon when it comes up and it's available, and you can go and watch that. It was a fantastic interview. But all the Australians now, they're all like, oh, things ain't quite right. We've got to be paying attention. DNR on someone that doesn't need a DNR. That's euthanasia. That's you're deciding who lives and dies. And that's really not what the NHS was built for. The NHS wasn't built to decide who lives and dies. It was built to try and save life. It wasn't there to be judgmental. It wasn't there to be, well, we're not sure. Because years ago they said, oh, if you smoke, we're not going to treat you. We're going to put a little black cross above your name on your system. I mean, Jesus Christ, where does this lunacy stop? I don't care if someone smokes 1,000 fags. I don't care if someone's got their penis hanging off because they've called it in a mangle. You've got to try and save them. That's your job. That's what you signed up to do. Firefighters sign up for their job to save property and life, and sometimes lose their own lives in the process. But they do it nonetheless, and I deem them as heroes. They're heroic people. And most people that have a good heart are heroic people. But if you didn't have the TV, you didn't have the media and the newspapers and the radio, and there truthfully was a worldwide deadly pandemic, you'd know about it. You wouldn't need anyone from anywhere else to tell you, because it would be in your streets, it would be in your neighbours' houses. You'd know, because you'd have people all around you dropping dead, and the smell of death would be in the air. When the Spanish flu was on, 50 million people perished. I can imagine that the smell in the air was one of death, didn't you? The death don't bother me. I couldn't care less. I really couldn't, because the minute that you focus on death, you're living in fear. And the purpose of life is to live. Jesus said, what is of the flesh is flesh. What is of the spirit is spirit. There's two different things. So whilst you're in the flesh, live your goddamn lives, ladies and gentlemen. Too many judging, too many to coerce, man. Yeah, I mean, it is. It's gone too far. But, you know, the National Health with all these, I mean, the advert they got on the telly, are you doing your bit? Can you look them in the eye? Well, yeah, of course I can look them in the eye. Why wouldn't I look them in the eye? You know? And it's always got to be their government narrative, hasn't it? It's always got to be lockdown. It's always got to be we're shutting the pubs. They can't let people be alone and people be people and let people figure it out for themselves no more. We're all deemed too stupid to look after our worldly affairs. We're all deemed not to own property. And that's the problem. None of us own any property. None of us. Our children, we own nothing. And that's why the system is running ruthless through us. Because it's just dealing in the dead. It's dealing in the fictional world. You know, it doesn't care about Mr. Samuel Johnson. It doesn't care, you know, about Samuel Johnson, the man, because they're only ever working on titles. It's really savage, ladies and gentlemen, that we've ended up in this time period that we value less morals. We don't value morals no more. Some of us in our hearts feel it. We feel the moralistic side of life, that we should be about smiling, be happy, property. Our kids should be ours. No one should be able to take them off of us. Our homes should be ours. No one can take them off of you. But we live through this existence and we're always worried about, oh, if you don't pay your council tax, they're going to take your house. Don't pay your road tax, they're going to take your car. Oh, can't pay your council tax, we'll send the social services round. You're bad parents. You're bad parents. What? Because I can't pay a fucking commercial obligation. I'm a bad parent, am I? Oh, cosmic. So then social services come, oh, you're bad parents. Yeah, well, you can't keep your kids. You can't pay this council tax. What the fuck has being able to pay a bill got to do with being a good parent or not? Being able to look like the kids. What the hell has that got to do with that? Nothing. So that tells me there's a problem in the world, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this system can only see legal and illegal. It can't see moral. It can't see life. This whole system of communism that we find ourselves in, and if you're honest with yourself, you will see it. Can't see morals. No, can't see moral judgment. No, can't do what's right or wrong. Can't cover, you know, that don't covet thy house, don't steal thy neighbour's this, that, don't shag his wife. No, that's all fair game. Yeah, no, it's all legal or illegal. Yeah, 16-year-old, can you have sex? Well, it's either legal or illegal. What about what's moral? What about what's right? What's about what's fair, right, and proper? The people that run our government are absolute psychopaths. They are beyond, I think they're beyond help, because they don't see us as living, breathing. That's why they don't shed no emotion. That's why Boris Johnson, a few years ago, he walked through a shopping centre and he had to go outside. He was doing this little tour. I don't know if he was, I think he was the mayor of London at the time. And there was a homeless man sitting outside. And rather than Boris go, oh, you're all right, mate. Oh, what's going on? He just walked over him as if he wasn't there. Fuck. We got 250 odd people stood outside a food bank last week up in a soup kitchen in Glasgow in freezing, sub-freezing temperatures with snow on the ground. It looked like a scene from Soviet Russia. But none of us are paying attention. None of us care. The only time we care is when it kicks on our door. When we're being dragged out of our cars, when we're being dragged out of our homes by these people, when our kids are being dragged off by the child snatchers and put in the vans and taken off and being fucked by all sorts of people, it's the only real time we ever think about it and care about it. We couldn't care less otherwise. True, that's the truth. Look, it's just how it is. That's just how it is. And at that point then, when that happens, it happened to me. That's the only reason I talk like this, is because the government took me into a building and they treated me like I was a dog turd on the end of their shoe. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm a good Christian boy. I'm a man of the book. What the fucking hell's going on here? How can these people be treating me like this? And these are the things that were going around my head while I'm smiling at them. I'm sat at a big long table. They've locked the door. They're throwing files of paper at me. And I went, you behave yourself. Stop doing that. You don't have the right to throw anything. Who the fucking hell do you think you people are? They said, oh, you're not leaving the building till you've signed them. I went, nah, don't work like that. I said, but in any case, I like steak Diane. Put pepper sauce on it. We'll have some of that. Could see them seething through the teeth. And I'm thinking, wow, who are these people? Who are these mafia gangster thugs that come from Robert and Carol, who live in the next village from me? And they're all right, their daughters. But what's this machine that's making these people act so violently towards me? What's making this happen? Well, they get their orders. They're told they can go out and do this stuff. The police, yeah, if you want to go out and smash them around, we give you the right. Yeah, the Gov, yeah, can we shoot this one? Yeah, what's he doing? Picking his nut. Yeah, shoot him. Righto, we've got the order. The Gov said, our Gov says it's all right to do it. So we're going to do it. Not, is it right? Is it just? Is it proper? No. Governor said we can do it. We're just following orders. The governor said it was all right to kick him up and beat him up in the cell. The governor said it was all right to put that morphine in his bloodstream and kill him and top him off. Ta-ta. See you off in your box. Don't get me wrong. There are times where end-of-life care and palliative care is a good thing. Because when people are at the end of their life and there's no hope of them coming back and they're riddled with this and that, it's a kind, compassionate thing to do. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a heathen. I'm really not a heathen. But that's been abused. That's been abused because the system now within its mentality owns everything, owns the cars, the land, the children, the houses, and you must do what they say. And if they say, oh, yeah, put a DNR on that one, if it goes on a ventilator, DNR it. If it passes away, well, another one bites the dust. Sicko. And the point is this, ladies and gentlemen, and this is a bit of a dichotomy, is that one day it could be you. Could be you. Could be you being dragged out of the car. Could be you having your kids snap TikTok for you. It could be you losing the keys to your house and the old bill kicking you out. Kent police are violent people. They are violent, crazy people. They have this mentality of the Third Reich. I can see it now. I'll never forget seeing the opening scenes of Band of Brothers or whatever, and this big lieutenant in the German army was swimming, doing lengths, and he got a call when his sergeant called him out, and then he's putting all his regalia on and his gun on, and he's like, and he called his squad to attention. I don't see the police as anything different from that now. I really don't. And it's really hard for me to say because I love my country. I love England. I love the land I grew up in, but I never grew up in it to be owned. I never grew up in it to have people believing that they own me. Does that make sense? And that's the core of me. How can I? It's like Fiona Pullen just coming here and I'm the boss who runs this country and I'm sniggering inside thinking, haha, Fiona thinks she's free. Fiona thinks she owns her house. But deep down, I have the levers and control over it. That's sick, man. That's deceitful. That's deception. And deception's a fraud and fraud's a crime. And our government are going to come under it very, very soon. You're going to see in the next month or two with this craziness that's going on up and down and around the country, I can see that they're really going to be under the cosh. I can see that there's going to be a real big pushback because Lord knows there are so many people waking up right now. Like you've got no tomorrow. People that I never, ever thought would talk like a certain way. And they're all I'm like, whoa, never see that coming. But I'm grateful for it because I want my country back. I want my people back. I just want greatness back. I want you all to be free in your property, your liberty. There's a way. There's always a way, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care. People say, oh, what other choices? There's always a choice. If you free think, if you think outside the box, there's always a way. What are we going to do if Saudi Arabia shut up the petrol and we can't get around? Well, then you create your own fuel from distilled water but you need free thinkers to think that way, to free up the country for the people. Who wouldn't want that? Why don't you want the freedoms? Care homes. There's a big care home the other day. Masses people dying. Well, all these vaccinations are rolling out. And even Zuckerberg, like I say, is going, oh, we've got to be careful. We don't know what it's going to do. They tested this protein, right? There's a certain protein in this so-called vax that attaches to the RNA. And they test, I can't think what animal it was, my mate said, that they tested it on. And I'm not here to fearmonger. You know, you make your own choices. Really and truthfully, you make your own choices. And he said this particular animal that they tested it on had the same, very similar respiratory system to us. Because obviously this is what's happening. People are getting this new variant of the flu. And if you say you've got the flu now, you're delusional. I'll go, I've got the flu. No, you ain't got COVID. No, I think I've got the flu. No, you can't have the flu. This is how brainwashed people are. There's a woman playing a flute in a band. She's got a mask on with an hole cut out of it, playing a flute. How in her right mind can she not be thinking in her head, I don't actually have a mask on right now? But she's playing that flute like there's Billy O. Look, I've got my social justice on and I'm fucking there. They tested this thing on these animals with the particular strain of this so-called virus protein at the time. And they was all right. But then another strain was introduced to it a little while later and it killed every single fucking one of them. All dead. So, your choice. You make your own mind up. Fiona is expecting a court bailiff tomorrow. Ignore council tax summons for court tomorrow but can't attend until I call council. Needless to say, I've not called. No clue what I'm doing, so probs. Right. Whereabouts are you, Fiona? I'll put you in touch with some people. Take my stuff. It's only stuff. Not if you don't answer the door. There's not been one case in this country where the council tax for council tax can force entry. No, only if you open the door, you see, and then you've got problems. Wicked. But why are we living like this? Why are we letting our servants master us? Oh, you can't pay, we're going to take it. Why do you think all this mental health go? Why do you think people are taking their own lives? It don't take a rocket scientist to figure this lot out. It really doesn't. It's because we've got this system of decay, this councils. You're not allowed to own. What's this business about you're not allowed to own stuff? You can't have control over your own home. You can't have control over your kids and your... God commands you to have control over your children. Teach them in the way so when later in life they don't depart from it. I wish I'd only read the scripture years and years ago, as we're commanded to do. Because my life probably would have been a lot different. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. But all I'm saying is we've allowed these public servants to become our masters. And remember, everything's inverted. Everything's ran the other way. When they claim to be your servants, they're your masters. When they claim to be your masters, they could be your servants. When was the last time you see someone in the fire brigade drag someone out of a car and bash them up with an asp and taser them and put triplex windscreen in the face? Did I hear you say never? I think you could be right. Why do we allow the police to do it? Why do we allow these thugs in uniform with weapons of war to beat up us, the people, the very creator of them? Why do we allow it? I don't understand it, and I never will understand it. All the time I've got a butthole, I will never, ever understand that notion. We allow these people to drag us out of our property, to put our head on the tarmac, to cuff us up, to cut our wrists, to take us down the sills, to beat us up. For what? A piece of paper. Because you dare defy your daddy, the state party. It's got to stop. Jesus Jones says, I never attended court. 3 letters later, nothing. Just let them know that Mrs. Fiona Pullen is dead. You're not lying. Mrs. Fiona Pullen is dead because it's only a legal fiction title. It's true, isn't it? I got arrested in 2008. Didn't know I was supposed to attend court. They arrested me at home and released me. You know, don't say nothing to these people. Don't sign nothing. Don't say nothing. Because the Bible says our mouth is the abomination. It's very hard for us not to... because they use all this trickery. Oh, if you don't say nothing, we're going to send you. But it's normally us that hang ourselves with our own speaking. That was an accident, but this time I'm angry. 1,800 quid for what? no real education, no real doctor's appointments, illegal to use your car to travel to a beauty spot, arrest to go shopping. We don't know nothing. You know, the roads are ours. They're God-given. The right to road is God-given. We've had it removed. Access to roads at whatever way if you want to walk down the road in a clown's uniform, you've got the right to do that. If you want to go down there on a skateboard, you have the right. Bike, push bike, roller skates, rollerblades, go-karts, no problem. Get in a car, whoa, you beg for the license. That's when they come and smash the granny out of you, because you begged for that licentious behaviour. Once you've got a license, they've only got to catch you in the act. You've already committed the crime by begging for the license. They just need the act. They just need you going through the speed camera. They just need you doing 36 and a 30. They just need you breaking one of their codes. They've caught you in the act. Boom, you're guilty. End of. Because you've begged to break the law by getting the license. And that's the truth. And not many people can handle the truth. Jesus Jones, you should see the road the workmen repaired. Honestly, our roads in this country are abysmal. My road out the front here, my goodness, it is disgraceful. The potholes, my God, it is shambolic. What are we paying these people for? You know, with all of the money that gets taken in taxation, we should be having Uber. I mean, Uber health, Uber wealth. No one should be taking anything off of anyone unless you've hurt, injured or harmed anybody. But the state now thinks it's a victim and it issues a victim surcharge. What the hell is that about? I'm all up for explanations. If anyone in the system wants to explain to me how a state party, which is a dead entity, no life, can be injured, I want to know. It's intriguing. How is that ever the case? But we allow it to happen. We do nothing. We do nothing. They don't do. Yeah, I wouldn't. Fiona, don't yeah. Mrs. Fiona Pullen doesn't have a birth certificate. 51 years later, it's left the name of the man my mother married. Well, they've got no right. Just tell them you're private, not public. And you have the right to be public unless you're being held in slavery. Oh, I tell them now, I say, you holding me in slavery? What's going on? You know, you obviously got a spirit in front of you that's not happy with the current status quo. So why are you trying to hold a spirit and a soul in slavery? What are you doing? It's unbelievable. Remember an old gentleman who repaired a pothole outside his house? He was fined. He was fined, wasn't he? I remember that story. That's mental. We've lost the plot as a country and as a nation, and it will go full circle. Make no mistakes about it. It will go full circle, and I don't know how long it's going to be away, but that full circle I don't think is too far away. We've got men now in uniform with machine guns, and we don't take no notice. A bit like the German people, I guess, when Adolf come in and all the and people just went, oh, I don't want to make no trouble. No, I'm just going to let it ride. Yeah, no, I'm not going to say nothing. No. And then everyone in that country within a few years was all doing this. And I'll never forget seeing that picture of that one guy that stood in the middle of the crowd like that, arms folded. All the rest of them are doing all this nonsense. And he's just stood there like, nah, I'm not having none of this. That would have been me. They're Mao, but not Mende. Honestly, it's a beast system. It is devilish. So you use the Bible, right? Just use the Bible and watch the magic happen. Believe you me, you start using scripture, woo! You'll see a completely different response, mate. I am telling you. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I thought I'd pop in and do half hour with you. I haven't seen you for a few days. Just be careful. Even Zuckerberg himself is saying, you know, we don't know what this is going to do to people's RNA. We need to be careful. It's the first time ever anything's ever been put in your body that takes hold and control of your RNA. I find that extremely dangerous. And I would rather take my chances with the Rona 1984 rather than have that vaccination. And now, of course, you've got to have the vaccination cards to prove who you are, and you have the right to travel here and there and everywhere. The day I get one of them cards will be the day I sell the system to put a bullet in my head. How's about that? Peeps, I love you all. I will see you all very, very soon because I can feel that my mate is going to be here very, very soon. I'm like that. I can feel vibrations. Stay blessed, stay safe. Fiona, if you want to get hold of me on Facebook, we'll try and put something together. But cancels are just a nightmare. But all I say to people is just return to sender. And Bob's your uncle. And also another thing, all this mail they send through the post. I'll show you an example quickly before I go. All this mail they send through the post. This is for my missus. But that's not proper postal stuff. This is the mail system. This is breaking the UPU law, okay, because this is not proper, no way, shape or form. And I then, because that's mail for what they call illegitimate gain. So I send all of that now just up to the permanent secretary for the Treasury, Sir Tom Scholar, and I tell him, sort it out. Don't care how you do it. It's your games, your gig. You own it. You control it. Don't expect me to know how to pull the levers. But you're bringing this to my door and you're harming my soul. So you sort it out. Gosh, simple. Doris is up Biden's backside. He's a traitor. Tell it how it is, Georgina. I love it. Bosh. Peeps, I'm going to go. Yeah, I think he's going to be very, very soon. So, and I need to sort myself out before I go. I love you all. Stay blessed, stay safe. Think about the words we use. Talk to your friends and your family. Spread the word. Spread the message. And we'll get there sooner rather than later, right? But we absolutely have to take back control of our own minds, our own life, our own private property. And how we do that, if the system acts completely dishonourable after you've tried, you have to give them back their property, give them back everything, the birth certificate, driver license, passport, bank cards, a lot. Give it all back to them and then let them know that you are no longer of value to them, all right? That's the true way out of this system. And we've got people that are doing it right now, and we're going to be doing it this year, and we're going to bring in a lot of people with us. We are all going to start to exit Babylon for the second time. And we certainly are going to exit it, and they're not going to stop us. So I'll see you all soon. Stay blessed, stay safe, and stay loved. And remember, keep smiling.